Imagine being completely cut off, no cell service, no internet, just you in the wilderness. For some, this is the ultimate escape from modern chaos. But isolation can quickly turn from dream to nightmare. Today, we'll explore 3 true stories of people who sought peace in remote places only to encounter something terrifying. These aren't campfire tales. These are real events, drawn from official reports and witness accounts. As you listen, picture yourself in their shoes facing the unknown with no one around to help. Sometimes, the most chilling monsters aren't in movies, they're waiting in the quiet, isolated corners of the world. Our first story takes us deep into the heart of the unknown, a tale of isolation, growing dread, and a disappearance that defies explanation. To the Pacific Northwest, a region of towering evergreens and shrouded mysteries, where the line between reality and the unexplained often blurs. Here, we find Arthur Vance, a former software engineer, a man who once thrived in the digital world, surrounded by lines of code and the hum of servers. But Arthur yearned for something more, something simpler. He sought solace in nature, and so he built a secluded cabin, a sanctuary designed to escape the relentless demands of city life. For years, Arthur thrived in solitude, finding peace in the rhythm of the forest, the changing seasons his only companions. He embraced the quiet, the stillness, the profound connection to the natural world. He spent his days exploring the woods, observing the wildlife, and documenting his peaceful days in a journal, a chronicle of his newfound life, filled with observations and reflections. To maintain a thread of connection to his former life, he made sure to check in monthly with his sister, Clara, a comforting ritual that reassured her of his well-being. But as autumn descended in 2019, a subtle shift occurred. His journal entries grew uneasy. A creeping sense of unease began to permeate his writing. He felt watched, a constant prickling sensation on the back of his neck, as if unseen eyes were following his every move. He began finding strange twig symbols on his doorstep, meticulously crafted arrangements that seemed to carry a hidden meaning, a silent message he couldn't decipher. And he spotted unfamiliar footprints near his cabin, tracks that didn't belong to him, suggesting an unwelcome presence encroaching on his isolated world. Driven by a growing sense of paranoia, he set up makeshift alarms, a primitive security system of tripwires and tin cans, hoping to ward off whatever was lurking in the shadows. But one night, his worst fears were realized. The alarms were triggered, shattering the silence of the forest. He ventured out into the darkness, armed with a flashlight, his heart pounding in his chest. But he found nothing. No sign of an intruder, no explanation for the disturbance, except another symbol, this time hanging deliberately from the tripped wire, a chilling reminder that he was not alone, that something was watching him, playing a sinister game. The peace he had so carefully cultivated was shattered, replaced by a gnawing fear that consumed his thoughts and haunted his waking hours. Arthur wrote, his hand trembling, "I'm not alone here. Something is toying with me. I can feel it, sense it, just beyond the edge of the light." He knew he had to tell Clara everything, to confide in her the growing dread that threatened to overwhelm him. He planned to call her during their next scheduled check-in, but when his next check-in never came, when the familiar ring of the phone never echoed in Clara's home, she knew something was terribly wrong and immediately reported him missing. Searchers scoured the area, their hopes dwindling with each passing day. They found his cabin untouched, seemingly undisturbed. Inside, a meal lay half-eaten on the table, a testament to a life interrupted, a moment frozen in time. His personal belongings were in place, neatly arranged as if he had simply stepped away for a moment, expecting to return. But 2 items were conspicuously missing: his rifle, a symbol of protection in the wilderness, and his journal, the repository of his thoughts and fears. And of course, Arthur himself. He was nowhere to be found. Despite their best efforts, the search yielded nothing. No tracks, no signs of a struggle, no definitive clues to explain his disappearance. It was as if Arthur had vanished into thin air, swallowed whole by the vast and unforgiving wilderness. Later, a private investigator, hired by Clara, discovered a chilling detail: a spiral symbol carved under the table, hidden from casual view. The symbol matched those Arthur had described in his increasingly frantic journal entries, the strange twig formations that had heralded his descent into fear. Arthur Vance was never found, his fate remaining a haunting mystery, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the most remote corners of the world. His cabin remains a silent monument to a man swallowed by the woods, a place where the boundary between reality and nightmare blurred and a life was inexplicably erased. The forest keeps its secrets close, guarding them jealously, refusing to yield the truth behind Arthur's disappearance. And whatever watched Arthur from the trees, whatever presence tormented him in his final days, it left no trace, vanishing as completely as he did. Sometimes the wilderness takes more than it gives, demanding a price that can never be repaid, leaving behind only unanswered questions and the chilling echo of a life lost. High in the Colorado mountains, where the peaks pierce the sky and the wind whispers secrets through the pines, Liam and Chloe, young and full of dreams, thought they had found their perfect escape. An off-grid cabin, nestled deep in the wilderness, miles from anyone and any semblance of civilization. It was their sanctuary, a place to reconnect with nature and each other. But nature has a way of reminding us of its power. One winter night, a ferocious snowstorm descended upon them, trapping them inside their isolated haven. The wind howled like a banshee, and the snow piled high against the windows. Seeking solace from the storm's fury, they huddled by the fireplace, playing cards, when suddenly, a loud, insistent knock echoed through the small cabin, cutting through the storm's roar. It was a place so remote, so isolated, that no one should have been able to reach them, especially in this weather. A chill ran down their spines as the knocking came again. 3 deliberate, heavy thuds that resonated with an unnatural force. Liam, trying to rationalize the situation, called out, his voice barely audible above the howling wind. But only the wind answered, carrying his words away into the blizzard. Then, adding to their growing unease, came a slow, unsettling scratching sound on the door, like fingernails dragging across the wood. A primal fear gripped them, tightening its icy hold with each passing moment. Sleep was out of the question. They stayed awake, their nerves on edge, clutching makeshift weapons, kitchen knives, a heavy iron poker, anything to defend themselves, listening intently for any sign of their unwanted visitor, every creak of the cabin, every gust of wind, amplifying their terror. As the first hint of dawn broke, a faint tapping came from the loft window, a window 15 feet off the ground, a place impossible to reach without assistance. Liam, his heart pounding in his chest, cautiously climbed up and saw a pale, gaunt face pressed against the glass. Its features distorted and grotesque, pressed so close it seemed to be trying to merge with the window itself. Its eyes were black and empty, devoid of any light or humanity. The face stared past him, through him, its vacant stare chilling him to the very core of his being. Suddenly, without warning, the back wall shook violently, the entire cabin shuddering with the force of the impact, as if something massive, something inhuman, was trying to break into their fragile sanctuary. Then, as quickly as it began, it stopped, and an eerie silence descended, broken only by the gentle whisper of the wind. As the sun finally rose, casting long shadows across the snow-covered landscape, they ventured outside and found huge bare footprints leading directly to and from the cabin, a clear path of disturbance in the pristine snow. And below the loft window, they saw deep gouges, long scratch marks etched into the wood siding, as if made by massive claws. They didn't hesitate. They fled, abandoning their dream, trekking 10 miles through the deep snow, their fear propelling them forward. They never looked back, their minds haunted by the image of the face at the window. They never returned to the cabin, leaving it to the silence and the secrets of the mountains. In the wild, in the vast expanse of the unknown, sometimes the darkness comes knocking, and you may not want to know what's on the other side, what horrors lie beyond the threshold. Some places are meant to be left alone, undisturbed by human presence. Because not every visitor is human, and some doors are better left unopened. The Miller family, seeking solace and a simpler life, made the fateful decision to move to a forgotten Kansas homestead. It was a place steeped in history, or so they thought, unaware of the darkness that clung to its very foundations. They were hoping for a fresh start, a chance to rebuild their lives amidst the golden fields of the Midwest, far from the noise and chaos of the city. Little did they know, their fresh start would quickly devolve into a terrifying ordeal. Locals, weathered and wary, warned them of the property's dark past. Tales whispered in hushed tones over steaming mugs of coffee at the local diner. They spoke of families vanishing without a trace, meals left uneaten on the table as if frozen in time, and possessions abandoned as if their owners had fled in sheer terror. At first, it was hard work, sweat, and optimism. The Millers poured their hearts into restoring the old house, painting walls, fixing fences, and dreaming of a bright future. But soon, small, unsettling things began to happen. Tools vanished from the workbench, only to reappear in strange places, or not at all. Whispers echoed through the empty hallways, carried on drafts that seemed to come from nowhere. And the children, wide-eyed with fear, spoke of faceless shadow people lurking in the corners of their rooms, watching them with unseen eyes. A constant, mournful sound, like a crying boy, echoed in the night, keeping them awake with a chilling sense of dread. One evening, as the family sat down for dinner, every cabinet and drawer in the kitchen flew open at once, sending dishes crashing to the floor in a cacophony of chaos. The family's fear grew with each passing day, a suffocating blanket of dread that threatened to consume them. Then, one particularly dark night, music drifted from the barn, a haunting melody that seemed to call to them from the shadows. It was an old, forgotten melody, played on an unseen instrument, accompanied by a strange, ethereal light glowing from within the barn, where there was no electricity. Tom, the father, armed with a flashlight and a healthy dose of skepticism, bravely investigated, but found nothing. Only the lingering scent of dust and decay. The final straw, the breaking point, came one terrifying night when Emily, the youngest daughter, woke screaming. She claimed a man with no eyes, a creature of pure darkness, had touched her face while she slept, leaving her paralyzed with fear. And as proof of her terrifying encounter, a large, greasy handprint, far too large to be human, appeared on the wall above her bed. That night, the Millers fled the homestead, leaving everything behind, their dreams, their possessions, and the lingering terror that clung to the very air. Years later, paranormal investigators, drawn by the homestead's dark reputation, ventured into the abandoned house and barn, hoping to uncover the truth. They recorded chilling voices. These voices echoed through the empty rooms of the house and barn, the sound of a child crying, lost and alone, and a guttural whisper, laced with malice and warning. "Get out!" The Millers' dream of a peaceful life became a living nightmare, a testament to the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most idyllic settings. Their story serves as a chilling warning that some places are haunted by more than just memories. They are haunted by something far more sinister. When you move off the grid, seeking solitude and escape, remember that you might not be alone. You might be inviting something else in. The land remembers everything that has happened on it, every joy, every sorrow, every act of violence. And sometimes when the land has witnessed too much pain, it wants you gone, wants to reclaim what was once its own. The homestead stands empty, a silent sentinel against the Kansas sky, its secrets locked within its decaying walls. Some stories never truly end. They linger in the air, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to stumble upon them. They just wait, patiently, for new listeners, for someone to hear their chilling tale and pass it on. The Millers learned a harsh lesson that fateful year. Not all fresh starts are safe, and some places are best left undisturbed. These stories remind us that the world's quiet places hold mysteries we may never understand. The people who sought peace found themselves at the mercy of the unknown. From deep forests to haunted plains, true terror often waits where help is far away. If you've had a chilling off-grid experience, share it below. You're not alone. Like and subscribe for more true stories from the world's strange, dark corners. Stay safe. And remember, sometimes the scariest things happen when no one else is around.